NYPD hat, whereas everybody was wearing NY, New York or FDNY, and I was like, well, I'm from LA. I'm gonna let these dudes know the cops are coming. So, but anyways, I came back and I wasn't doing drugs anymore, but then I got into drinking. Then alcohol became my legal drug. And in the military, it's really easy for military guys. It's even been said that we're like some of the most physically fit alcoholics. I don't know if you guys ever said that. You know what? You didn't know this, Pastor, that one of my pastors actually told me that the military is the largest mission sending group. They go everywhere. You just have to equip them. So, I found my life. I came back and we got introduced. We left the Catholic Church. Not really left. I go wherever Jesus is, man. I don't put labels on things. I don't. I go when Jesus is there. That's where I go. I'll go to Catholic Church. I'll go to anything. I'll stand outside. But this is the thing. When I came back from Afghanistan, as I was drinking, Angel said, "Hey, I found a church." And it was a lot like this church. It wasn't a Catholic church where the guy would stand up, sit down, and get on my knees, stand up, sit down, and get on my knees. Nothing against the Catholic church. But what I'm saying is, I wasn't filled there. And I walked into a non-denominational Christian church. And I was like, man, I get it. I could see, he's got a PowerPoint, I could read it, I could follow along. Because I didn't have a Bible. I had a Bible that it was on my mantle that was collecting dust, but I didn't know the words were inside of it. And I didn't know that Jesus, when he was speaking, is written in red. I didn't know all those things because I never had a relationship. So some friends introduced us to a Christian church, and I started getting it. I could follow along as they were singing like you guys were, and I was like, wow, I get it now. Well, God started tapping on my heart and he started saying, hey, look, man, it's time to change your life. And I was like, okay, I'll change. I'll change, God. But just because he calls you doesn't mean he's calling your spouse too, at the same time sometimes. And then when you start shifting, they're like, what are you doing? This is our norm. Well, I had a buddy tell me, hey man, I got your back, bro. Hey, it's me and you till the end. If anybody ever tries to hurt you, you better beat me to him because I'm gonna get him. Just came to find out that my same buddy that had my back was texting my wife. Right? Well, who walked the devil in? I did. I walked that dude right in my house. He was supposed to be my friend. But it wasn't that. My wife and I were both just as drunk. We were both getting into it. And so one night I got drunk at a party and I was told the next day that I hit on every woman, every wife at the party. Didn't even know. Blackout drunk. And that's when God let me hit the ground. He picked me up, he dusted me off, and he said, all right, you ready to change? You ready to do it better? Let's go. There's a lot of times I would walk into church and, the men's group guy would be right there and he'd be like, hey, brother, come check out our men's group. And I'd be like, okay, bless you. Okay, I'll take your pamphlet and I'll throw it away when you're not looking. I did that. That was me. Not you guys, though. You guys are going to do that. Not him. I get it. You guys are old. But when that happened, I walked into church and I was supposed to be there. And it changed my life. But when God starts calling you, we're in a spiritual war. This is a fight we're in. And I'm telling you, the devil is not going to give up ground easily. And he's going to come at you. He's going to come at you hard. He's going to come at your kids. He's going to go after the weak ones because he's calling you. He's going to latch on. There's a lot of strongholds here. There's a lot of things. Don't forget, I was drinking for years. You got to go and pray and fasting for those. Remember when they said, Jesus, we don't know why we couldn't call that demon out of that kid. Why? He said this one required prayer and fasting. And he's opened doors. He's let me know all that stuff. So long story short, I know I probably got to hurry up, but as I started moving forward, we got into the church. We started doing good, and God just started doing things in our life. And then he sent me to college, right? He sent me to that Baptist college. And I was like, then he forced me to learn about him because I had to take courses that were required by him. So then I graduated. I ended up being number 60 in the nation among ROTC cadets. There were almost 5,000 of us. This is the same guy. Next slide, please. This is the same guy that, again, never crossed an academic stage, right? So then they said, we're going to commission you to be an Army officer, and your first assignment is going to be Fort Hood, Texas. And I was like, okay, let's go. We get there on or about 1 November, and on April 2nd, 2014, I'm shot at Fort Hood. I take a 45 to the throat. Jugular hit, I'm completely bleed out, but I'll get there. So I'm shot, I walk back to my car and I fall, and I'm laying on the ground and I'm like, I can't believe I'm shot. I'm like, what just happened? I'm on one of the most secure installations in the world. I got 3 tours to combat. I've seen the enemy, I know what he looks like. But on April 2nd, when the enemy was wearing my uniform, it got real blurry on who the enemy was. But I was spreading Jesus in this place in uniform, where a lot of people don't do that, right? It's real touchy talking about Jesus in uniform, but I wasn't. I believe the enemy was trying to take me out. But guess what? He just actually made a bigger warrior than he expected. Right? If he would have knew that what Jesus was going to do, like it says, he probably wouldn't have tried to have him crucified. Right? So as I'm laying on the ground, thinking about my wife, thinking about my family, I'm like, man, I think I'm dying. I'm actually dying here. And I actually heard the audible voice of God telling me to get up. But what I heard was, get up or your wife is going to die. And that's what I heard. And a lot of people say, well, why do you think you heard that? Why do you think you heard God tell you something like that? Because I was shot April 2nd, 2014. But just prior in September, many of y'all here know, my wife lost both her parents within 9 days of each other. And her younger brother, like a year before that, year and a half before that. So her younger brother, mom, dad, 6 months later, I'm bleeding out. And God said, if you die, that one bullet is going to kill you both. Get up. And I knew it was God because the power that came with that getting up, I didn't have the power to get up off the ground. I was bleeding out. My jugular was hit. But I pick myself up. I go looking for help. I see a man walking towards me, and I'm like trying to ask him for help. He gets within 10 feet of me. From here to the door, we're facing each other. I'm like, help, help. But I can't get a sound out. It's the shooter. I'm asking for help.
Oh my God.
My Lord and my God.
So I'm wondering, like, man, this guy's about to kill me. We're staring at each other. God shields me. He walks right in the building, kills the very next guy he sees. I move 30 feet away because I started moving away. I could hear him shooting still. These medics come running out and they yell at me, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? I yell back to them from across the parking lot, no, I got shot. There's a shooter.